Anyone who possesses this seed will be plagued by misfortune. But I swallowed it whole. I've nurtured it for 8 years. Because before my father died, he told me that as long as I waited for the seed to sprout inside me, I would undergo a complete transformation. However, before the seed sprouts, I'm not allowed to speak. Because the moment I open my mouth, the presence of the seed will be revealed. That would incur the wrath of the heavens. Lightning might even strike down from the sky, erasing me from existence. So for 18 years, I haven't spoken a single word. Tomorrow is the last day of my 18 years. But today, something happened that I never expected. I saw Zhang Luoi holding a large blade, pressing it against her own neck. I'd rather die than marry Feng Chan. Luoi, if you break your promise, people will say you're ungrateful. Hearing this, Zhang Lui's expression changed. She stomped her foot and said, I don't care. I absolutely won't marry Feng Chan's father. You have to think of a way for me. Jiang Zhengyan was having a terrible headache. His eyes unconsciously glanced toward me in the corner. Handsome features, tall and upright posture, eyes calm but full of wisdom, and an air of quiet grace. He was an excellent-looking young man. Too bad he was mute. And not just mute, he'd been tested many times and had no spiritual roots at all. His daughter, on the other hand, was a 6th-ranked spiritual prodigy, favored by the elders of Chanshuan sect, and about to be accepted as a true disciple. Her future was boundless. Their worlds apart, one above the sky, the other on the ground. They're simply not from the same world. Husband, if this won't do, why not let Ruxu marry in place of Luoi? The moment she said this, all the members of the Jiang family turned to look at the crowd. At Jiang Ruxu in the back, she was a young girl in green with a graceful lotus-like posture. As the older sister, she was much prettier than her younger sister Jiang Luoi. But unfortunately, she was born to a concubine. So her status in the Jiang family was far beneath Jiang Lui's. Chen Yingfeng suggested her own daughter be replaced by Jiang Ruxu, to marry a mute. Many in the Jiang family found this hard to stomach. Dad, I still want to serve by your side. Please don't marry me off. Jiang Ruxu bit her red lips hard, pleading helplessly. But Jiang Zhengyan ignored her gaze. He said earnestly, Ruxu, our Jiang family has been down for 100 years. It was hard enough for your sister to be born such a genius. The Jiang family's future depends on her. Please, for your father's sake, marry Feng Chen in your sister's place. Seeing she was still hesitant, Jiang Zhengyan gritted his teeth and bent his knees. Are you going to make your father beg you on his knees? Jiang Ruxu was startled and quickly helped her father up. Don't be like this. Fine, I'll marry him. Is that not enough? The moment she agreed, her eyes were full of grievance. Hearing this, Jiang Zhengyan finally stood upright. The worry he had carried for years was finally put to rest. He showed a trace of relief in his smile, then looked toward Xiaocheng. What do you think? I sat calmly in the corner, sipping my tea slowly. When I heard that, I lifted my gaze to look at Jiang Ruxu, who had her head down, and let out a silent sigh. So pitiful. She was being schemed against by her whole family. The Jiang family never intended for their golden girl, Jiang Luoi, to marry me. They had planned all along for Jiang Ruxu to be the scapegoat. From Jiang Luo threatening her own life, to Shan Yingfeng suggesting a substitute bride, to Jiang Zhengyan appealing to family bonds. It was all arranged by them ahead of time. Jiang Ruxu was pure and kind, so she fell for it easily. She agreed to be the stand-in bride. How could I bear to hurt such a pitiful girl? How could I bring myself to hurt her? I picked up my pen and paper I always carried with me, and wrote a note. Uncle, don't make things hard for Ruxu. The Jiang family has taken care of me for 10 years, which already repaid the life-saving debt my father owed. As for the engagement, let's call it off today. Even if not for Jiang Ruxu, I had already planned to break off the engagement.
10 years ago, ever since my father saved Master Jiang,
I've lived in the Jiang household, but after my father passed away 3 years ago, out of sight, out of mind, the entire Jiang family gradually became distant toward me. I knew the Jiang family's patience had completely run out. If they weren't worried breaking off the engagement would affect their reputation, they would have kicked me out long ago. Now it's time for me to go. After reading my note, Jiang Zhengyan was secretly excited. He had long wanted me gone. But his debt to my father always stuck in his throat. It bothered him for years. Now that I'm taking the initiative to leave, it's the best news he could ask for. But unexpectedly, Chen Yingfeng earnestly said, Xiao Cheng, that's not going to work. This engagement was arranged by the old master. How dare we go against his wishes? If he comes back from his travels and finds out we didn't fulfill the promise, your uncle and I will be in big trouble. If you really appreciate the Jiang family taking care of you these 10 years, marry Ruxu. From then on, we'll all be family. Some sharp-eyed clan members could see Chen Yingfeng's real intentions. She wanted me to marry Jiang Ruxu, to ruin her happiness, and clear the way for her own daughter Jiang Luoi. Jiang Ruxu had an outstanding aura, a stunning beauty, and was known as a top beauty far and wide. Many young men from noble families admired her. If she married into a wealthy family, or became the wife or concubine of a powerful man, she'd definitely become a rival to Jiang Luoi.
Now,
By marrying her to a loser like me with no spiritual roots, they could get rid of any future threats. Truly vicious. I could see everything clearly. Looking at Jiang Ruxu quietly shedding tears, I sighed helplessly, secretly pondering in my heart. Even if I help her out today, after I leave, she still have to face Chen Yingfeng's cruelty alone. By then, her fate might be even worse than marrying a mute. All these years, Jiang Ruxu was the only one kind to me. The year my father died, I was overwhelmed with grief and fell seriously ill, lying in bed for 7 days and nights. The Jiang family ignored me. It was Jiang Ruxu who stayed up by my side for 7 days without sleep. That's how I pulled through. I really can't bear to leave this pure, kind-hearted girl to fend for herself in this Jiang family hellhole. After much contemplation, I reluctantly picked up the pen and wrote okay to Chen Yingfeng. Chen Yingfeng broke into a smile and warmly said, Ruxu, take Feng Chen to get measured for clothes. You two will be married in a month. He couldn't wait to have us wed, for fear something might go wrong if it dragged on. Jiang Ruxu wiped away her tears, her eyes red and swollen as she came before me. Come with me. I happen to have something to say to you, too. I followed Jiang Ruxu to her room, though she called it her room. It was only a little better than the servants' quarters. Extremely simple and plain. Jiang Ruxu opened the drawer of her dressing table. From the corner, I took out a very well-hidden little pouch. Inside were pieces of silver of all sizes. Little mute, you shouldn't have agreed. They don't truly want you to marry me. They just don't want to seem ungrateful. Once my sister joins Changshuan's sect, they'll start mistreating you and find ways to kick you out. I just smiled slightly. He's not that dumb, is he? Jiang Ruxu stuffed the money pouch into my palm. She softly said, take this money. Leave the Jiang family. Leave Meteor City. I don't want you to live a life like mine. I wrote a note. How about you? Jiang Ruxu's lips curled with bitterness. This is my home. No matter how badly they treat me, I still can't leave. Suddenly, we heard the maids chatting and laughing, heading to the storeroom to fetch silk. She anxiously said, you need to go now. Stop hesitating. Once you're outside, don't trust strangers so easily. Don't eat food from others. Don't drink their water. And don't just talk to people casually. If they find out you can't speak, they'll bully you. Do you understand? As little mute spoke on, her voice was choking up with tears. Crystals of tears twirled in her eyes. I walked forward and gently patted his head. From now on, call me husband. Jiang Ruxu suddenly looked up sharply. Her bloodshot eyes widened. You spoke. You're not mute. I smirked. Did I ever say I was mute? Jiang Ruxu's mind was in chaos. You were pretending to be mute. But why? I clasped my hands behind my back, looking silently out the window at the sky. At that moment, the sky was clear, but suddenly 2 deafening thunderclaps boomed. Everyone in the Jiang household was startled. People hurried out to look. Jiang Ruxu also shuddered from the abrupt thunder. She murmured, why thunder out of nowhere? The thunder was just like 3 years ago. My expression grew heavy. I didn't say a word. What she didn't know was, when I spoke earlier, I let out the aura of the seed, which triggered the wrath of the heavenly thunder. Seeing the sadness on my face, Jiang Ruxu gently said, okay. I won't ask any more. Just pack your things and go quickly. If Shanyi finds out you've been pretending all along, He'll get paranoid again. I turned around and gently grabbed her hand. I'm staying. I'll marry you and protect you from now on. Jang Ruk-soo's handsome face instantly flushed red. Her heart raced for no reason at all. She nervously pulled her hand back. Stop bluffing. Your spiritual roots aren't even as good as mine. I smiled without saying anything. Today is the last day of my 18th year. I'm about to undergo a complete transformation. I quietly gazed at Jang Ruk-soo. With confidence, believe in me. Jang Ruk-soo met my calm and determined eyes and felt a warm current in her heart. Since her mother's passing, no one had ever said they'd protect her. She thought for a long time, then once again stuffed a pouch into my hand. Her cheeks tinged with a blush. Take it as my betrothal gift for you. Hearing that, my heart was filled with indescribable and unexplainable feelings. It never crossed my mind that one day, a girl would give me all her savings and ask me to use it as the bride price to marry her. What are you spacing out for? Jang Ruk-soo held out her tiny hand and gently straightened my clothes. She softly said Uncle Feng was poor his whole life. He didn't leave you any gold or silver. I hope this money can help you. Hearing that, I couldn't hold back anymore and pulled her slim waist into my arms, embracing her tightly. Jang Ruk-soo's face was bright red with embarrassment. Like a persimmon in late autumn, her mind went totally blank. Her body stiffened and she couldn't move, letting me hug her like that. It was a while before she reacted. Frightened, she broke free. She said, I'm going to hang the laundry. Staring at her bashful back, I put the pouch back on the table and smiled. Jang Ruk-soo, I'll marry you with honor and pride. At the same time, inside Chun Yingfeng's bedroom. Aunt, how can you marry cousin Ritsu to Feng Chun, that good for nothing? Lu Zheng, who had also been staying in the Jiang house for 10 years, kneeled before Chun Yingfeng, his face full of anxiety. Please take back your order. Let me marry cousin instead. Lu Zheng is Chun Yingfeng's nephew, clever and quick-witted, and a genius with a third-tier spiritual root. So Chun Yingfeng took him in and raised him from childhood. And he turned out well. At age 20, he'd already reached the 5th level of key refining, making Chun Yingfeng proud among her family, letting her stand tall before her family. The only thing that troubled her was Lu Zheng's deep feelings for Jang Ruk-soo, and he always considered her his. Boy, your aunt can compromise on other things, but not this one. You can't cause trouble here. But seeing Lu Zheng's look of anguish, she eventually relented and said with a deeper meaning, Aunt just won't let you interfere in their wedding. But she never said you couldn't make a move after they marry. If Feng Chan dies unexpectedly, you can still marry Jang Ruk-soo, right? Lu Zheng instantly understood. He smiled happily. I understand, thank you, Aunt. I'll go help Feng Chen arrange the wedding and hurry it along. Chun Yingfeng smiled and said, Go ahead, but don't forget to get up early tomorrow. Aunt will go with you to the testing tower to retest your spiritual root level. Yes, said Lu Zheng, clasping his hands, and left, smiling brightly. But as soon as he left Chun Yingfeng's room,
His smile
gradually disappeared, and a trace of viciousness appeared. That old woman is really scheming. After the retest tomorrow, if my result is even better, I'm going to win Jang Ruk-soo back before the whole Jang family and take her away. Early the next morning, in a modest room in the west wing of the Jang residence, I paced around the room. He kept looking out the window, his eyes bloodshot. I was so nervous. I've waited 18 years for this day. Thought I had strong willpower, that nothing could faze me, that I'd calmly watch the seed sprout. But now that the day has come, I couldn't sleep all night, nervous and anxious inside. Just then, a dazzling ray of light broke through the clouds and shone into the room. At almost the same moment, I seemed to hear cracking sounds, as if some hard shell was splitting open. The seed has sprouted. The sprout breaks through the soil. Its emergence seems to have alarmed a supreme existence. Heaven-shattering lightning descends one after another, trying to force it back underground. The sprout slowly unfolds, casually absorbs all the incoming lightning. I watched wide-eyed as a single seed devoured the world. The lightning became its nourishment. It grew into a towering tree so massive its top was out of sight. Even the lightning realized it couldn't stop its growth, and gradually faded away. This ancient taiksu tree scattered streams of green light, slowly merging into my body. A spiritual root began forming in my danshin. A spirit root. I actually have a spirit root now. I finally experienced the rebirth I've waited 18 years for. After a long while, I managed to calm down. Then I carefully examined this spirit root and was instantly stunned. Transparent? My spirit root is actually transparent. No color at all. Jiang Lui's spirit root is deep blue, which means he has a 6th grade spirit root. Legend says the highest is the white spirit root, which represents grade 9. But I've never heard of a transparent spirit root. Looks like I should go to the testing shop to confirm. I rubbed my head. No idea what kind of transparent spirit root this will turn out to be. Just then, I suddenly noticed the lush Tagzu divan tree was covered in massive transparent fruits. Inside the lowest hanging fruit, I discovered a sealed cultivation technique. Shan Class Advanced Heart Law Dragon Seeking Scripture. When I saw those words, I was shocked. For the Jiang family, a veteran power in Lushan City, even their clan's prize technique is just a yellow class mid-grade sword technique. But this is an advanced Zhuang class. That's enough to throw the whole world into chaos. My breathing grew tense. I tried to jump up and snatch the fruit, but an invisible force pushed me back to the ground. At the same time, information slowly appeared in my mind. The lowest fruit can only be picked at Foundation Establishment Realm. Right after, the darkness before my eyes faded away. I was back in my shabby little room. Without wasting a second, I left the Jiang residence and arrived at the testing tower. It was still early morning. The testing tower hadn't opened yet. A group of young boys and girls waited out front to test their spirit roots. Jenner, today's your retest. Make sure you don't get nervous. The tower master said last time you were nervous, so you got a result lower than normal. Chun Yingfeng stood with Lu Zheng in front of the testing tower, waiting for it to open. You should have at least been upper 3rd grade. But because you were nervous, it only showed mid-3rd grade. Just 1 grade makes a big difference. I couldn't get you more resources in the Jiang family. Lu Zheng nodded solemnly. The best were all given to Jiang Luoi. The rest are divided based on talent. There are quite a few with 3rd grade spirit roots in the Jiang family. If you're 1 step behind, the resources you get are way less. So this retest, you must show your true ability. If you test as upper 3rd grade, Auntie will do everything I can to persuade the Jiang family to let you learn the Jiang clan sword technique as an exception. Lu Zheng was thrilled when he heard this. The Jiang clan sword technique is a royal class intermediate martial art. It's one of the top-ranked skills in Lushan City. Only the Jiang family's core members can have access to it. I've spent 10 years watching others' faces in the Jiang family, and finally I can touch their most prized treasure. Overwhelmed with excitement, he caught a glimpse of a familiar figure with his peripheral vision. He couldn't help but be surprised. Feng Chun, what are you doing here? A slip of paper, same as you. Before I've gained enough strength, I'd plan to keep playing mute, so people won't get suspicious. Just like me. Lu Zheng shook his head, his eyes full of disdain. Before this, I'd already been tested many times. But every time, the result was no spirit root. He patted me on the shoulder and teased. Spirit roots are something you're born with. You either have one or you don't. What's wrong with living your life as a normal person? Why chase what you can have? At that moment, the doors opened. The tower master was a lazy old man. He waved his sleeve and said, "Same old rules. Those with excellent aptitude can win a martial technique." No one seemed to care much, because in recent decades, the only one to win the reward was Jiang Luoi. Lu Zheng was full of confidence, glanced at me out of the corner of his eye, and said in a half-smile, "Just wait and see. Try not to get scared by my true spirit root grade." He was sure he'd test as upper 3rd grade this time. If that's the case, his status in the Jiang family would rise even further, and it would be so much easier to win over Jiang Ruxu. I shrugged, wrote a note, "Wait and see," with the tower master's command. Everyone entered the testing chamber at once. It was already my 4th time here. Once the stone doors were closed, I couldn't help but nervously look at the center of the room. A crystal ruler floated in midair. It had 9 colored markings, which stood for grades 1 through 9. When you put your hand on it, your spirit root would light up the crystal ruler with the corresponding color. showing your root's grade. The testing is extremely accurate. Never a mistake. I took a deep breath, stood before the crystal ruler, placed my palm on it. The crystal ruler quivered a bit. A ripple slowly rose from the bottom. It reached the red marking, then immediately rose to orange. I started to relax a little. Then the ripple jumped to yellow and surged ahead to green. My heart was pounding hard. Green means a 4th grade spirit root. That's already beyond Lu Zhang's grade. In Luxian City, that's considered top-notch. But the ripple clearly showed no sign of stopping. Cyan, then blue. I clenched my fists. My heartbeat thundered in my chest. A 6th grade spirit root. I reached Jiang Lui's grade. But the ripple kept going. Purple 7th grade. Black 8th grade. My heart was in my throat. My mouth went dry. I actually reached 8th grade. That's a new record for Luxian City. But even then, the test still wasn't over. The ripple shot up to the highest marking. White. My eyes widened in shock. I was overwhelmed with joy. I'd awakened a legendary 9th grade spirit root. That's the stuff of legends. Yet the ripple still wasn't done. It surged even higher. After the white marking, the ruler was blank. No more markings. But the ripple just kept going up. Finally, with a swoosh, it shot off the scale and flew out of the chamber. I was left completely dumbfounded. What kind of spirit root is this? Almost at the exact moment the ripple shot out from my crystal pool, Lu Zhang in the next chamber stared at his own crystal pool, watching his ripple climb slower and slower, like a snail inching up a wall. When it finally froze between mid and upper 3rd grade, his face looked ugly. Hurry up, go higher already. Bastard Lu Zhang furiously pounded the crystal pool. An angry roar. He thought he had reached grade 3 upper. He was sure he would succeed. But in the end, he missed it by just a hair's breadth. This tiny difference meant he lost the Jiang family's resources, and also lost the Jiang sword technique promised by Chen Yingfeng. Just then, the ripple that burst out from my crystal pool during testing swept past his secret chamber. The powerful shockwave triggered the ripple in Lu Zhang's crystal pool, causing his once stalled progress to rise again. He broke through the green, cyan, blue, purple, and black levels, and finally climbed slowly until it froze on the white mark. It began to shimmer, and the glow only got brighter. The tower master was lying on a bamboo recliner, with a pen in one hand and lazily holding the registration book with the other. At that moment, the stone door of room 3 lit up first, releasing a faint crimson glow. He found room 3 in the book and spoke blandly. Room 3. Zhu family's heiress Zhu Tingting, grade 1 lower spiritual root. After that, other chambers also started to light up. Room 7. Jiang family chamber of commerce's young master Yu Wangdong, grade 1 upper spiritual root. Room 1. Cheng family stronghold's young master Zhang Shanqi, grade 1 lower.
He recorded the results of several rooms in a row.
The tower master just shook his head. Sigh, Liu Xianzeng really gets worse every year. If not for recently, a grade 6 spiritual root like Zhang Luoi appeared. Liu Xianzeng's testing tower would have been shut down. Suddenly, in Lu Zhang's chamber, a beam of white light shot out from the crack beneath the door. The tower master rubbed his eyes, looking puzzled. The white mark on the white crystal ruler represents...
Bang!
He sprang up. The released energy sent the bamboo chair flying several yards away. His wrinkled face was full of utter shock. A grade 9 appears. As soon as he finished speaking, the white light suddenly intensified, like a blazing sun emitting dazzling radiance, illuminating the entire testing tower in pure white. Even the testing tower couldn't contain the brilliant light, which turned into a pillar of white brilliance, shooting up to the sky, piercing the clouds above. Jiang family's Zhang Luoi finished meditating, spiritual energy swirling around him, his eyes full of energy. Next to him, Zhang Zhengyan looked on with pride. Luoi, you broke through to the 9th level of key refining. At your age, this is unprecedented in our Liuxian city. A hint of pride appeared on Zhang Lui's face. After all, I have a grade 6 spiritual root, so my rapid cultivation isn't surprising. Once I joined Changshuan sect and obtained the Royal Extreme Intermediate, or even Royal Extreme Advanced cultivation methods, I'll cultivate even faster. Just then, he caught a glimpse of a white beam of light out of the corner of his eye. and couldn't help being shocked. Dad, what is that? Jiang Zhengyan looked up, and his expression immediately changed. It's a white pillar of light from the testing tower. Could it be that a grade 9 spiritual root has appeared? Jiang Luoi stared at that beam of light in disbelief, unconsciously biting his lower lip. For someone as proud as him, he couldn't accept it. Lu Xianseng, someone actually has a better spiritual root than his. As he watched the light gradually fade, he bit down hard on his silvery teeth, threw down his sword, and dashed toward the testing tower. I have to see who it is. At the same time, countless cultivators rushed madly toward the testing tower, all wanting to witness this spectacle that happens only once in centuries. Meanwhile, the inside of the testing tower was in complete chaos. Cultivators who were being tested all dashed out the doors and gathered in front of Lu Zhang's chamber. They were all utterly stunned. The tower master looked almost crazed, muttering uncontrollably to himself. A legend. I just witnessed a legend. In my lifetime, I actually got to see the legendary grade 9 spiritual root. This is the same as our Heavenly Secrets Pavilion Master. Exactly the same spiritual root. A young man with tightly clenched fists muttered jealously. Tower Master, is grade 9 really the strongest? The Tower Master glared and said, Of course, grade 9 is the strongest. Then, as if he recalled something, he paused. Not too sure, as he said. Actually, there is a kind of spiritual root even higher than grade 9. It's called the infinite spiritual root, legend says. It's invisible and formless, completely transparent. This spiritual root is many times 10, even 100 times stronger than grade 9. But it only exists in mythology. There's no way it exists in reality. What, you think you have the infinite spiritual root? Hearing this, the young man looked completely disheartened. With just one talent test, their future status is sealed. One becomes a dragon soaring in the heavens, another an ant crawling on the ground. Such a gap is cruel enough to make people despair. In the neighboring chamber, I naturally sensed all the commotion too. No way, does Lu Zhang have a grade 9 spiritual root? Just as I was thinking, I suddenly noticed. My crystal ruler reacted again. A bluish-green ball of light shot out from the ruler, landing in front of me. When the light faded, there were actually 2 cultivation manuals. Huh? Are these my rewards? I was instantly overjoyed, quickly picking them up to take a closer look. One was a top-grade yellow-rank cultivation method called Pure Wind Sutra.
The other?
Was a top-grade yellow-rank sword manual called 7-Star Sword Technique. What grade am I exactly? To actually receive such high-level rewards? I couldn't help but be a little surprised. Even Jiang Luoi with the grade 6 spiritual root was only rewarded with a basic yellow-rank cultivation method. But regardless of the reason, with these 2 manuals and this transparent spiritual root, I'll improve by leaps and bounds in no time. I tucked the manuals away, opened the stone door, and the loud sound instantly attracted countless onlookers. Oh, it's just Fang Chen. Gave me a fright. I thought it was Lu Zhang coming out. Fang Chen's test this time. Seems like he has no spiritual root again. Sigh, just one wall apart. One's a peerless grade 9. One doesn't even have a spiritual root. That's a massive gap. I frowned, wanting to argue with them. But, on second thought, what's the point? Secretly practicing 2 top-level yellow rank manuals. Quietly improving my strength is what matters. I have no support now. If anyone finds out about my background, it might cause serious trouble. Just then, Jiang Luoi and Jiang Zhengyan arrived. And saw me? Fang Chen, you were in there too? What's going on? Jiang Luoi bit his lip, asking in a rapid voice. I stayed calm and wrote on a slip of paper. Lu Zhang just tested as having a grade 9 spiritual root. What? Jiang Lui's face went pale instantly, staggering back several steps. Impossible, this is impossible. It really is a grade 9. And it's Lu Zhang who grew up in their household. At that moment, the tower master noticed Jiang Zhengyan arriving. A warm, overly friendly smile spreading across his face. Congratulations, brother Jiang. Jiang Zhengyan is overwhelmed by the honor. The tower master usually doesn't give face to anyone. Only the city lord barely gets a smile. But now he's suddenly so warm and friendly. Even addressing him as brother Jiang, it makes him feel light as air, like he's walking on cotton. Next, Liu Qianqing's top expert, City Lord the Jifeng, also cupped his fists and approached. Patriarch Zhang, truly congratulations. The Jiang family has produced a true dragon. Looking at the forced smile on the Jifeng's face, Jiang Zhengyan felt even more like he was dreaming. Not so long ago, when he brought generous gifts to visit the Jifeng, he was always turned away at the door. The man didn't even bother to acknowledge him. But now, with envy and jealousy, he took the initiative to be friendly. As if overnight, the Jiang family transformed from an obscure, declining clan into the hottest name in Liu Shancheng, the #1 family. Jiang Zhengyan was dazed for a long time. Before he finally calmed himself down, he knew all of this was thanks to Lu Zeng. Chan Yingfeng walked over proudly. Husband, back when I went against everyone, and insisted on bringing Zhenger into the Zhang family to nurture him. What did you say? Hearing this, Jiang Zhengyan looked ashamed. He had strongly opposed it back then. After all, the Jiang family's resources were limited. But when Chan Yingfeng threatened her life, he reluctantly agreed. Never could he have imagined that Lu Zeng would be so accomplished. I really didn't recognize good talent. It's all thanks to you, my lucky star. Only because of you could our Jiang family attach ourselves to Zhenger. He's truly a future peerless talent. Jiang Zhengyan hugged Chan Yingfeng, deeply moved in his heart. Yingfeng's face was glowing with pride. It's not like Zhenger was that rank 8 prodigy from Pingshan City back then. I heard he went straight into the Heavenly Secrets Pavilion, and later became the deputy head of the Heavenly Secrets Pavilion. But our Zhenger is a rank 9 prodigy. The Heavenly Secrets Pavilion will recruit him soon. Your Jiang family. Just wait for Zhenger to lead you to glory. Not long after, Lu Zeng finally opened the stone gate and walked out with confidence. He approached Jiang Zhengyan, knelt on one knee and said, "Thank you, uncle, for raising me all these years. I will not let you down. I've been found to have a rank 9 spirit root." At that moment, everyone present was filled with envy. Jiang Zhengyan, how much luck does it take to get such a gifted child? Jiang Zhengyan didn't dare take the credit. He quickly helped him up. You mustn't do this. Zhenger, you're a rank 9 prodigy. How could I, as your uncle, deserve such a gesture? Quick, get up. Lu Zeng felt an unprecedented sense of relief. In the past, he was always cautious and reserved around Zhang Zhang. Even a slight mistake would get him scolded. But now Zhang treats him with the respect of a deity. For someone who's lived at the bottom for so long, this felt like soaring to the 9th heaven, looking down at the world, feeling invincible. Yet in his peripheral vision, he saw my reflection. At this moment, my hands were hidden in my sleeves, showing not a hint of fear or respect. That really irritated him. A useless mute. How dare he refuse to submit to me? Fang Chan, are you defiant? He questioned me loudly with authority. I tilted my head to look at him, and made a gesture with a blank expression. You think you're worthy of witnessing this? Lu Zeng looked at me with contempt. He turned toward Jiang Zhengyan, bowed deeply, and said, Uncle Jiang, I have a request. Please, nephew, go ahead. There's no need for such formalities. Lu Zeng glanced at me, with a smirk at the corner of his mouth.
He said Zhang Ruxu and I grew up together as childhood friends.
And I can't bear to see her marry a loser. So I respectfully ask Uncle Jiang to marry Ruxu to me. Only I can bring her happiness, and give her a future. Jiang Cheng looked troubled.
He'd already promised Ruxu to me.
Was he supposed to go back on his word and have Ruxu marry someone else? Wouldn't that make him untrustworthy? But Lu Zeng is now the one who brought tremendous fortune to the Jiang family. If they lose him, Jiang Zhengyan would be remembered as the Jiang family's greatest sinner. Compared to breaking his promise, being cursed as an eternal sinner was much worse. Just as he was about to make a decision, I held my brush and addressed Uncle Jiang. Whether or not Ruxu can be happy depends on strength, not just words. I am willing to compete with Lu Zeng. Jiang Zhengyan's heart instantly relaxed. If I lose, I'd voluntarily back out, so no one would think he was a man of broken promises. Lu Zeng would get to marry Ruxu as he wished. It'd be a win-win. Both sides would be satisfied. Lu Zeng burst out laughing. A loser with no spiritual root still wants to challenge my 9th grade spiritual root? Fine. Since we're both raised in the Jiang family, I'll give you a chance to compete with a 9th grade spiritual root. Here's your opportunity. Hearing this, Jiang Zhengyan breathed a sigh of relief. You both have 3 days. Whoever advances 1 level gets to marry Jiang Ruxu. Understood? I waved my brush. Agreed. Lu Zheng grinned with confidence. Just 1 level? Uncle, you underestimate my 9th grade spiritual root. Wait and see in 3 days. Just then, an elder in fine clothes stepped forward with his hands clasped. He emerged from the group of big shots.
He said, Mr. Lu.
I am Qin Changsheng. At that, everyone present was moved. Qin Changsheng, the head of the top alchemy family in Liuxian City, relying on his ancestral key refining liquid formula. He monopolized all the key refining liquids in all neighboring cities. And key refining liquid is the only medicine that can advance cultivation in the key refining stage. His presence quickly drew everyone's attention. Lu Zheng knew him too. He asked in confusion, Master Qin. Is there something I can help you with? Qin Changsheng smiled, holding a brocade box. Inside, 10 small jade bottles were neatly arranged. Each glowed with spiritual light. They were the famed key refining liquids. The Qin family congratulates Mr. Lu for being found with a 9th grade spiritual root. We have nothing else to offer. These 10 freshly made key refining liquids are gifts for Mr. Lu. We hope you'll win the beauty's heart in 3 days. Many people looked at the key refining liquid greedily. Even 1 bottle is worth a fortune. No ordinary family could afford it. Qin family just gave away 10 bottles at once. That's truly generous. My eyes narrowed slightly. Is the Qin family openly siding with Lu Zheng? Sensing my gaze, Qin Changsheng didn't even try to hide it. In fact, he didn't care. He announced, as of today, all my Qin family shops will no longer sell key refining liquid to Feng Qin. My gaze turned completely cold. I waved my brush. Hope you won't regret this. Qin Changsheng teased. Regret letting go of a loser like you? I'd rather cling to Mr. Lu's leg. The whole crowd erupted in laughter. I looked at Qin Changsheng meaningfully, gave him a long look, and silently left. The crowd began to disperse as the drama ended. Back at the Jiang residence, I closed my door immediately. I opened the Qingfeng scripture and began reading carefully. Maybe it was because my body had been refined by the Taixu ancient tree after being cleansed. But even though this key cultivation method was complicated, I found it surprisingly easy to understand. Very soon, invisible streams of spiritual energy gathered from all directions and flowed into my danshin, transforming into pure spiritual power. I didn't feel tired, immersed in cultivation, until the sun's very first rays. I slowly opened my eyes. A look of joy appeared on my face. After a whole night's training, I had successfully advanced to key refining level 2. But level 2 still wasn't enough. I need to get stronger to protect both myself and Jiang Ruxu. So I tried to continue cultivating, but found that the speed at which I absorbed spiritual energy had slowed dramatically. The higher you get in the key refining stage, the slower it becomes, and you need key refining liquid. But key refining liquid is expensive, and Qin Changsheng won't sell it to me. Thinking that, I couldn't help but frown. Just then, I smacked my forehead, muttering, before my father passed away, he asked me to bury the box he'd carried for 10 years in front of his grave, and told me not to dig it up until the seed inside sprouted. Could it be there are cultivation resources hidden for me inside? At that moment, I heard Jiang Ruxu begging from the next courtyard. Aunt, these are the resources the clan gave me this month. Please don't take them away. Chen Yinfeng, along with 2 personal maids, had forced Jiang Ruxu into a corner. The maids held her hands down, while Chen Yinfeng pulled a bottle of key refining liquid out of her arms. With a cold look, she said, Don't think I don't know. You're saving this for that useless Feng Chen. Chen Yinfeng viciously smashed the bottle on the ground, spilling the precious liquid everywhere. It mixed with the dirt. Jiang Ruxu desperately broke free from the maids, fell to the ground, grabbing at the dirt soaked with the spiritual liquid, trying to save what little she could. But the liquid was already mixed with the dirt, and completely useless now. Chen Yi, known for his calm personality,
Had tears in his eyes from anger.
Little Chen has suffered enough. Why are you bullying her like this? Chen Yinfeng casually clapped her hands. Who bullied her? The key refining liquid belongs to the Jiang family. If she has backbone, she should get it herself. not rely on a woman sneaking it to her. Not just everyone in the Jiang family. Even any beggar on the street would spit at her. Let's go. She sashayed away, feeling completely satisfied. Jiang Ruxu squatted helplessly on the ground, hugging her knees and crying in guilt. Then a hand landed on her back, gently patting her shoulder. I turned my head to look, and saw it was me. He felt even more guilty, crying uncontrollably. He apologized. Zhao Chan, I'm really useless. I should have been more careful. That way, Chan, you wouldn't have found out. I gently patted his thin back. Silly, I'm grateful to you. I couldn't thank you enough. How could I blame you? Don't worry about the key elixir. I'll figure it out myself. Go back and get some rest. Wait for my news. Soon I left the Zhang residence and arrived at the cemetery outside town. Father, your child has been unfilial. I've come to see you. I knelt before the grave and burned a lot of paper offerings. Soon I left the Zhang residence and arrived at the cemetery outside town. Father, your child has been unfilial. I've come to see you. I knelt before the grave and burned many paper offerings and candles. In my mind, I recalled the years spent with my father. Father was quiet and reserved. He liked to drink. When drunk, he'd curse at the sky in anger, as if venting his sense of injustice. When sober, he gazed at the moon with tears streaming down. And regardless of whether he was drunk or not, whenever he looked at me, he was always gentle. Dad, I'm getting married, but not to Jiang Luoyi. It's Jiang Ruxu, the one you liked more. You once said she would actually be a better wife for me. She's gentle and peaceful. I smiled, and tears began to fall. If you were still alive, you'd definitely be grinning ear to ear. When we're married, I'll definitely bring her to meet you. I wiped away my tears, with a hint of guilt, and said, but your child has run into some trouble. I need to open the box you left behind. Sorry for disturbing your rest. Please forgive me. I bowed several times, then raised my hoe and dug the earth in front of the tombstone. I dug down a full 3 feet, before finally finding a black wooden box. Wow, it's not rotten at all. I picked it up in my arms. My eyes showed surprise. This wooden box doesn't have a single sign of being worn by time. I twisted the box's latch and heard a click. The box father guarded for 15 years, which he never opened, was finally unlocked. When the box opened, something that made my pupil's contract appeared before my eyes. Those are 2 jade bottles. Inside there lies a calm green spiritual liquid. This is mid-grade refining liquid. I was overjoyed. These 2 bottles of mid-grade refining liquid have relieved my urgent need. I picked up the refining liquid. Only then did I notice a letter underneath and a bamboo slip. My heart skipped a beat. With trembling hands, I opened the letter. The handwriting before my eyes was exactly my father's. Chen, when you see this letter, your father has probably been dead for 3 years. The 2 bottles of mid-grade refining liquid are left for you to break through your current realm. But most important is the bamboo slip underneath. Your father had mediocre talent. I barely grasped the basics after a lifetime of study, and just managed to become a 2-star soul master. I hope my son can surpass me and become a great soul master. Then you'll have a way to protect yourself. Finally, this wooden box was left for you by your mother. She once said, after you become a 5-star soul master, you can open the hidden compartment in the box. My greatest regret was not being able to open it. Keep going. Tears dripped onto the letter. It felt as if my father was right in front of me, making his final farewell. After a while, I wiped my tears away and carefully put away the letter. Waves of emotion surged in my heart. So my father was once a 2-star soul master. Soul masters are the most noble profession in this world, without exception. They possess soul power beyond ordinary people and cast wondrous soul techniques. They can also refine spiritual pills for warriors. Unlike ordinary medicines, the pills needed for cultivation are all made from aged heavenly treasures, refined into pills. Such heavenly treasures, after years deep in the forests, absorb spiritual energy, but inevitably also absorb impurities. To remove those impurities, it takes powerful soul energy to strip them away. So a soul master is both a master of mysterious techniques and an irreplaceable pill refiner. The Qin family of Lu Shangcheng became the #1 pill refining family. Because each generation's family head inherited the Qin family's heirloom, a treasure that can temporarily boost soul power. The boosted level is roughly that of a soul master apprentice. Even so, it made the Qin family one of Liu Shangcheng's top clans. A single stomp would make all of Liu Shangcheng tremble. The might of soul masters is obvious. I opened the bamboo slip. It was filled with strange, twisted symbols. At first glance, they didn't even look like characters. And the longer I looked, the dizzier I felt. The author of the first part of the Taiyi Soul Art, the 8-star Soul Master Lord Xiaoyu, only the strong in soul can discern these symbols. Fools gaze at the moon and may suffer intense headaches or even soul destruction. Practice with caution. I finally realized these symbols aren't meant to be read with the eyes, but recognized with the soul. If I can understand them, it means my soul is stronger than most. I have the qualifications to become a soul master. This filled me with great joy. I hurriedly kept reading until the headache started, and I had to stop reading further. I quickly sat cross-legged at the grave, silently digesting what I had just learned. Just like when cultivating the clear wind scripture, the things I comprehended came quite easily. After just half a day, I opened my eyes, my gaze full of expectation. It feels like I've learned some methods to use my soul. Looking at the 2 bottles of mid-grade refining liquid before me, I drank one bottle and put the other away. As the potent refining liquid entered my body, it released abundant spiritual energy. I hurried to cultivate, greedily absorbing the spiritual energy. Not long after, with a tremor through my body, I opened my eyes. I broke through to the 3rd stage of refining. Mid-grade refining liquid really has this effect. I wonder what the upper grade or supreme grade would be like. What kind of power would that have? I filled in the pit in front of the grave, bowed to my father's headstone, and set off back to town. But I didn't return to the Jiang family. Instead, I came to the Treasure Pavilion, a business in decline. The Treasure Pavilion is the shop of the Wang family, the 2nd pill refining clan founded by Liu Shangcheng. The Wang family didn't have the luck of the Qin family and lacked a treasure to boost soul power, so they're only able to produce crude medicines. Business is nowhere near as good as the Qin family. When I arrived, I changed into a broad black robe and entered the shop wearing a mask. The shopkeeper of the Treasure Pavilion was on duty, lying lazily in a chair, and said, "Customer, what do you want to buy?" I shook my head and said in a suppressed voice, "I'm not buying." His tone was weak. The shopkeeper looked at me in surprise. "Then you're here with some heavenly treasures. To sell or not to sell?"
Hearing this,
The shopkeeper frowned. "This is a place for business. If you're not buying or selling, why are you here?" I took out the mid-grade refining liquid and placed it on the counter. "To exchange?" the shopkeeper said, frowning, his gaze sweeping over and landing on the mid-grade refining liquid. He took a closer look, and his eyes showed surprise. With a burst of energy, he jumped up from his chair and quickly walked over, exclaimed, "Is this mid-grade refining liquid?" 10 years, it's been 10 years since I've seen mid-grade refining liquid. He sounded excited, with a tone of respect as he looked at me, calling out, "Quick! Why are you all just standing there? Bring tea for this esteemed guest. Bring the best tea." I was a bit surprised. Could it be that the refining liquid from 10 years ago was made by my father? I replied expressionlessly, "No need for tea. I'd like to swap for materials. How much can your shop offer?" I picked up the pen on the counter and wrote down the materials. Materials for refining liquid. The shopkeeper became even more excited, his tone full of reverence. Even his straight posture unconsciously bent. "Sir, are you a soul master?" In all of Liu Shangcheng, aside from Qin Changsheng, no one asks for refining liquid materials, unless they're a soul master, preparing to make refining liquid. My tone turned cold. "You want to know?" The shopkeeper was startled and hurriedly fixed himself. "Talk less, live more. Talk more, please. Forgive me, if you really are a soul master. He can't afford to offend you even with 10 lives. Enough talk. How much can I get?" The shopkeeper replied, "According to the market price, 1 bottle of mid-grade refining liquid is worth 10,000 silver. Materials for refining liquid are worth 1,000 silver. One bottle can be exchanged for 10 sets of materials. The shopkeeper looked around, rubbing his hands, and added, "If you have more refining liquid to sell, I can offer you 11 sets of materials." I thought about the 10,000 silver. Low-grade refining liquid is only 5,000 silver a bottle. But thinking of the double effect it has over the low-grade, and then I felt relieved. After a brief thought, I nodded in agreement. The shopkeeper was overjoyed. He quickly brought over 11 sets of materials and placed them before me. Rubbing his hands, he said, "To be honest, sir, tomorrow is Master Liu's medicine refining family showcase. If you have any extra refining liquids, perhaps you could sell them to us at the expo. It would help the Wang family gain some prestige." Seeing his almost pleading expression, I gave a slight nod. Then I promptly left Treasure Pavilion. I made sure no one followed me, then found a nearby alley, removed my disguise, and calmly walked back to the street. But after just a few steps, suddenly I heard a cold sneer. Who could it be? Lu Zhang rode over with a cheerful smile, accompanied by Qin Changsheng and his companion. Seeing me, he pulled the reins and stopped. Lu Zhang glanced at Treasure Pavilion not far away, and mocked the Qin family head. Some people are daydreamers, still hoping to buy a lower tier of refining liquid. Qin Changsheng shot me a look, said coldly in Liuxian City, "Except for the Qin family, nowhere else has refining liquid. You asked for refining liquid at Treasure Pavilion. I'm afraid you went to the wrong place. Rather than asking them, you'd be better off asking young Master Lu." Lu Zhang teased. "Ask me for refining liquid. You might as well ask me to spare your fiancé." Ha ha ha. He rode off, laughing loudly. Qin Changsheng gave me a sidelong glance and sneered, "Forget about refining liquid. As long as I'm here, you'll never get a single drop of refining liquid in your whole life." He finished and rode after Lu Zhang. I shrugged. Low-grade refining liquid. Not even a dog wants it. Soon after, Wang Xilin, the eldest daughter of the Wang family, entered Treasure Pavilion. The shopkeeper bowed low, his face full of anxiety and nervousness. "Miss, the matter is exactly as I reported before." Wang Xilin's gaze was sharp. She questioned coldly, "Did you send anyone to investigate his identity?" The shopkeeper shuddered and quickly waved his hand. "I, an old servant, wouldn't dare. His mentor hates prying eyes and coveting best. If it engages him, it would bring disaster upon the Wang family." Wang Xilin's expression softened a little. She secretly let out a sigh of relief. She praised, "Very good. You handled this matter exceptionally well. You gave the Soul Master plenty of benefits, built a closer connection, and did not show the slightest disrespect. From now on, whether our Wang family can win over this Soul Master will depend on you. It all depends on his willingness. If he could provide us with a few bottles of mid-grade refining liquid at the exhibition, we could make a big name for ourselves. We could go head-to-head against the Qin family." Meanwhile, I had just returned to the Jiang residence when I noticed chaos all over the manor. Search everywhere. Search carefully. Even if you have to dig 3 feet deep, you must find Jiang Ruxu. What, Jiang Ruxu is missing? A wave of panic hit me. A bad thought flashed through my mind instantly. That silly girl. Could she have gone out alone, using rare herbs to seek a breakthrough? Did she go out on her own? It's almost dark now, and she hasn't come back yet. Could she have run into danger? I didn't dare delay, and dashed out the city gate immediately, racing towards Misty Cloud Mountain nearby, the place most likely to have rare herbs. Running as fast as I could. On the edge of a cliff at Misty Cloud Mountain, 3 burly men with bat emblems on their chests were grinning wickedly, staring at Jiang Ruxu, who was tightly gripping a vine below the cliff. After hanging in the air for so long and clinging to the vine, he was completely exhausted.
His face was as pale as paper.
And his body was shaking badly. "Miss Jiang, stop struggling, or if you slip, you'll end up a bloody mess." The leading man licked his lips, speaking in a lewd tone. Another man chimed in, "Come on up. Every debt has its debtor. We're only taking you back to force Lu Zhang to pay off the gambling debt he owes us. We swear, we won't do anything to you." Their eyes never left Jiang Ruxu's graceful figure. If they managed to pull her up, the consequences would be disastrous. Jiang Ruxu bit down on her lips and said word by word, "Dream on." The leading man lost his patience. A cold light flashed in his eyes. "Pull her up." He didn't believe Jiang Ruxu would really let go and jump off this sheer cliff. The other two men stepped up and started pulling the vine hard. Jiang Ruxu saw herself getting closer and closer to the edge. Her heart filled with sorrow. She was about to let go, falling downward in a rush when suddenly, the sound of rapid footsteps came closer from afar. Then, a shrill scream was heard. One of the men pulling the vine was suddenly caught off guard and got kicked off the cliff. His dark figure fell into the mist amid continuous wails, disappearing almost instantly. The remaining two men were furious and turned to fight the newcomer. After only a few moments, another man fell to the ground with a miserable cry. The last man was scared out of his wits, fleeing in panic, while shouting fiercely to cover his fear. "How dare you kill a man from Bloodbath Palace? You're dead. You're definitely dead." Jiang Ruxu was shocked. "Who just arrived? You should know those 3 guys from Bloodbath Palace just now. One was at key refining level 3, and the other 2 were at level 2 as well." Modi's head popped out from the edge of the cliff. Jiang Ruxu looked carefully and was stunned. "Zhao Chen." I reached out and pulled him up. I looked down and saw his palm was already rubbed raw, and the blood dripping out had drenched a spirit herb tightly gripped in his hand red. The herb itself was so tightly squeezed, it was nearly crushed out of shape. It clearly couldn't be used anymore. Jiang Ruxu had noticed it too. Her eyes instantly dimmed, her voice full of disappointment. "This took me so much effort to find." I felt a flood of emotions and gently pulled her into my arms, softly saying, "Don't ever risk yourself like this for me again." Jiang Ruxu leaned into my arms, feeling guilty for not being able to help, yet also sweet for being cherished. Am I really this important to Feng Chun now? After comforting her, I turned to look at the corpses of Bloodbath Palace men on the ground. Feeling a surge of thoughts, I squatted down and searched the bodies, quickly finding a token on one of them. It was a Bloodbath Palace token. The City Lord's mansion had already posted a wanted notice. Whoever kills a Bloodbath Palace fiend will be allowed into the City Lord's hall and use the Misty Spirit Pool to cultivate once. I put away the token and glanced up at the sky. By now it was pitch dark all around, and the way down the mountain was impossible to see. With no better option, I had to first find a safe cave and spend the night there with Jiang Ruxu. Night deepened. Jiang Ruxu, utterly exhausted, fell into a deep sleep. I kept watch by her side and didn't rest. Taking out the materials for refining liquid I exchanged from Treasure Pavilion and started trying to refine the liquid. The next morning, I looked at the heap of ashes on the ground and sighed with heartache. I had wasted 3 whole sets of materials. But then my eyes lit up, and I quietly thought, after my soul was baptized by the ancient tree of the void, just how powerful have I really become? Refining even the lowest grade refining liquid is now ridiculously easy. I looked at the 8 bottles of elixir I just made beside me. 7 of them are top grade refining liquid, and 1 is actually supreme grade refining liquid. This was only my first attempt. Once I get the hang of it later, making supreme grade refining liquid will surely get even easier. Even I could hardly believe such incredible results. Could it be my soul is already at the foundation establishment level? I murmured, then gathered my thoughts. Unable to wait, I grabbed the supreme grade refining liquid and drank it all in one go. A powerful surge of medicinal energy exploded inside me at once. The spiritual energy it released was at least 10 times more than the lower grade refining liquid. My body actually started to swell up a little, like a round balloon. I didn't dare slack off, and immediately sat cross-legged, chanting my cultivation method, and absorbing the spiritual energy quickly. 1 hour later, I slowly opened my eyes, astonished. Key refining level 4. And I'm just 1 step from level 5. Meanwhile, it was a totally different scene back at the Jiang residence. Lu Zheng was drenched in sweat, his face as ugly as could be. He stared blankly at the 10 empty bottles of refining liquid in front of him and shouted in anguish, "Why is this happening? I've finished them all, so why haven't I broken through yet?" Chan Yingfeng at his side was confused too. That's not right. with a ninth grade spiritual root and 10 bottles of lower grade refining liquid. Even a pig should have broken through by now. But Lu Zhang's cultivation didn't move at all. He could only force himself to reassure Jenger. Haste makes waste. Maybe you're too eager and messed up your mindset. After all, you didn't lose. That loser Feng Chun has no spiritual root and isn't cultivating qi. So it's even more impossible for him to break through. At best, you two just tied. Hearing this, Lu Zhang finally loosened up a bit, and a hint of disdain appeared on his face. He's not even worthy to compare with me. My lack of breakthrough is only temporary, but he'll never break through in his entire life. Let's go to Detang and see who's better. At that moment, Jiang Ruxu and I stepped into the early morning light and returned to the Jiang residence. Jiang Ruxu gazed at the crimson main gate of the Jiang family, but hesitated to move forward. He turned to look at me. His eyes were filled with heaviness. Sensing his unease, I reached out and held his hand. With a calm and steady tone, I said I'd protect you. With that, I held his hand. And together we stepped into the Jiang residence. Jiang Zhengyan was hurrying over with a group of people. He caught a glimpse of Jiang Ruxu and me holding hands tightly. His brows furrowed slightly. He asked, Feng Chun, how has your cultivation been these past few days? I replied calmly, writing 2 words, not bad. Jiang Zhengyan looked surprised, but didn't question further. He led Jiang Ruxu and me into the main hall. The hall was already filled with people. Dozens of young and old members of the Jiang family. All the main and branch family members were present. Some of the young Jiang family girls were dressed up beautifully, gathering around Lu Zhang with bright smiles, hoping to catch his eye. Jiang Luoi was also smiling, chatting with Lu Zhang from time to time. But as soon as he saw me walk in, the smile on his face disappeared without a trace. With a cold tone, he said, thought you didn't dare to show up. At least you still have some guts. I couldn't be bothered to waste words with him. I walked straight to the center of the hall and stood still, standing tall and upright. I picked up a brush and wrote, When do we start? That sense of calm confidence made everyone present react with surprise. A flash of astonishment crossed Zhang Lui's eyes, and he couldn't help but size me up. Chan Yingfeng lightly tapped her teacup and spoke slowly. Do you still remember the bet from Feng Chun and Lu Zhang's competition back then? If you lose to Lu Zhang, then, unfortunately, Jiang Ruxu will have to marry Lu Zhang. I looked up indifferently at him. I flicked my brush with a swift motion. If Lu Zhang loses, then please make sure to keep your nephew in line and stop him from being like a toad lusting after a swan. Chan Yingfeng suddenly slammed the teacup heavily on the table. Her phoenix-like eyes blazed with anger. If Jenger loses, of course he would be too ashamed to ever ask for Ruxu's hand again. But if you lose, you'll get out of the Jiang family immediately. From that moment, my Jiang family owes your Fang family nothing. I flicked my wrist lightly. The tip of my brush touched the paper. All right, let's settle this right here, Chan Yingfeng said through gritted teeth, holding back her anger. Jenger, go ahead. Lu Zhang stepped confidently to the middle of the hall. The contempt on his face was almost too obvious to miss. To even be considered my rival with a 9th grade spirit root. If your Fang family's ancestors in their graves are aware of this, they should feel glorified, he sneered playfully. He raised both fists and punched the air hard. His cultivation at the peak of Qi refinement stage 5 made the air tremble. Jiang Luoi was stunned. He hasn't broken through. That's odd. 10 bottles of Qi refinement liquid. Even for someone like him with a 6th grade root, should have been enough for a breakthrough. The clan members exchanged glances in surprise. This result was truly unexpected. The 9th grade spirit root didn't seem as powerful as they thought. The scene turned awkward. Chan Yingfeng quickly tried to smooth things over. Cultivation is always a difficult path. To progress from stage 5 to its peak in just 3 days is already quite impressive. The other clan members still felt uneasy, but decided not to think too much about it. They nodded and echoed in agreement. That's right. No matter what, he's still better than a rootless good-for-nothing. Upon hearing this, Lu Zhang straightened his back and smiled arrogantly. So Feng Chun, even though I didn't break through, at least I've made progress. You still lost. As he spoke, he looked at Jiang Ruxu, his eyes hot with desire. I smiled as I raised my brush. A 9th grade spirit root, with Lin Changsheng's strong support. That's all? Chan Yingfeng felt inexplicably anxious watching this. She patted the table impatiently and said, "A true dragon in the sky, while you're just a bug crawling on the ground. What right do you have to mock a true dragon?" My smile grew even wider. I raised my fist and punched the air forcefully. A surge of pure spiritual energy vibrated through the air, making everyone's eyes widen in shock. Key Refinement Stage 1. It's the first stage of key refinement. Zhao Chen, you've made a breakthrough. Jiang Ruxu covered her mouth, gasping in disbelief and delight. Jiang Luoi muttered to himself, as if unable to believe it. He has a spirit root. Lu Zheng's eyes widened even more, unable to believe what he saw. The worthless loser he always looked down on actually broke through to Key Refinement Stage 1 and beat him. How could this be? He couldn't accept that, as a proud 9th grade spirit root, he lost to a so-called nobody. I smiled as I wrote a line with my brush. If my Fang ancestors knew I beat someone with a 9th grade spirit root, they'd feel even more proud. Lu Zheng's earlier mockery felt like a slap to the face now, hitting him hard. He couldn't help but clench his fists. Seething with anger, Chan Yingfeng also felt humiliated. It's just breaking through to the first stage of key refinement. Look at you, acting all smug. Breaking through to stage 1 and breaking through to stage 6 of key refinement. Those are totally different things. The latter is 5 times harder than the former. I just smiled. I raised my hand and punched the air again. The air cracked with a sharp pop. Jiang Ruxu's jaw dropped in shock. Key Refinement Stage 2. Zhao Chen, you broke through to Key Refinement Stage 2 in just 3 days. Even Jiang Luoi couldn't sit still anymore. Her beautiful face showed clear surprise. I couldn't reach Stage 2 in 3 days myself. Lu Zheng's eyes trembled with disbelief. His mind completely shattered. Breaking through to Stage 1 was already a win. But getting to Stage 2 was pure domination. Even Chen Yinfeng was shocked, but still forced herself to argue. Stage 2 isn't that hard. It just means he's barely catching up to Lu Zheng. But right after she finished speaking, I punched the air again. A crisp explosion rang out, as if a heavy slap was landed on everyone's faces. Jiang Luoi was so stunned she shot up from her seat, knocking her stool over without even noticing. Her face was filled with shock. Key Refinement Stage 3. That's impossible. Breaking through to Stage 3 in just 3 days. Even a 9th grade spirit root couldn't do it. Lu Zheng and Chen Yingfeng were equally terrified, staring at me in disbelief. I waved my brush lightly. So what if you call yourself a true dragon? And so what if you have a 9th grade spirit root? Lu Zheng could only feel utterly humiliated. He roared, "Fang, what are you so proud of? What's there to brag about? Let me tell you, the people from Tianji Pavilion are already on their way. Soon I'll be joining Tianji Pavilion directly. And you? You're nothing but a bug at Stage 3 of key refinement. You're not even worthy to compete with me." Chen Yingfeng's reputation was thoroughly ruined today as well. He glared at me fiercely and snapped, "You have a spirit root now. So being a loser isn't enough for you, right? Since you're so capable, prepare generous betrothal gifts in 10 days. If you can't, don't blame me for breaking the engagement. And marry Jiang Ruxu off to someone else." He slammed the table, then stormed off in anger with Lu Zheng. I shrugged, unbothered by it. If this were before, maybe I would have worried, but not now, because I'm a soul master who can refine valuable elixirs. Suddenly I remembered my promise to the Treasure Pavilion manager yesterday, to attend the showcase in Liuxian City. I just finished brewing a batch of top-grade refined elixirs, which should sell for a good price. On both sides of the wide road in front of the city lord's mansion, booths were lined up one after another. Today was the grand showcase for all the alchemist families in the city. Alchemists of all levels would come here to display their very best products. The Qin clan leader, Qin Changsheng, stood on their stage, showcasing their best-selling medicine, low-grade refined liquids. A sea of spectators gathered to watch. But on the equally large Wang family stage, across from them, it was deserted, chilly to the extreme. The huge contrast made Wang Siling uneasy and doubt herself. Will that senior really show up today? The manager accompanied her, smiling wryly. Most soul masters are loners, coming and going alone. Whether he comes or not depends entirely on his mood. He was anxious inside too. If that soul master arrives, The Wang family will definitely shine with their mid-grade refined liquids and completely overshadow the Qin family. But if he doesn't come, this showcase will become the Qin family's one-man show. For the next year, the Wang family's days will be tougher and tougher. What worried them even more was that the Qin family's treasure seemed to have revealed an even stronger ability. It's said that Qin Changsheng has already successfully refined a batch of mid-grade artifact refining liquid. Although the yield rate is only 1%, if this gets out, it'll cause a huge stir. The only way out for the Wang family is to cling to that Soul Master's support. At that moment, I put on a black robe and stepped onto the Wang family's stage. Wang Siling was pacing back and forth and suddenly caught a glimpse of a dark figure. She frowned slightly. "You are..." The steward also looked over and recognized the clothes at a single glance. His heart immediately started pounding wildly. "The young lady is that Soul Master Senior." Wang Siling was inwardly shaken. She hurried forward and bowed, saying, "Siling greets Senior." The steward quickly made introductions. "Senior, this is our Wang family's oldest miss. She is managing family affairs on behalf of her father. I'm not concerned with the Wang family's matters." I still spoke with a hoarse, unclear voice. "How much artifact refining liquid can you take?" Wang Siling tried to conceal her excitement. "Is this Soul Master really going to work with the Wang family?" He glanced around. "Our Wang family has prepared 100,000 taels of silver. At market price, we can purchase 10 bottles of mid-grade artifact refining liquid." Hearing this, I frowned slightly. I don't have any mid-grade artifact refining liquid right now. Only top grade. Seeing me remain silent, Wang Siling thought she hadn't brought enough money. She added, "Senior, there's something you may not know. Our Wang family purchases your artifact refining liquid for 10,000 taels of silver per bottle. It's absolutely a fair price. The Qin family across the way has already produced mid-grade artifact refining liquid. Once the two families start competing, the selling price will surely drop below 10,000 taels of silver. Our Wang family is basically selling at a loss." I calmly replied, "I don't sell mid-grade." Upon hearing this, the steward started sweating anxiously.
He clearly said
He invited the Soul Master to sell mid-grade artifact refining liquid on site. Just then, I silently took out a bottle of artifact refining liquid and placed it in my palm. I said, "I only sell this one." Wang Siling and the steward both looked over at once. Wang Siling barely managed to stay calm, but her pupils shrank drastically. The steward, on the other hand, directly shouted out in shock, "Senior alchemist of premium alchemy business, you want to sell this to us?" I have to ask, "Don't you want to acquire it?" The shopkeeper hurriedly replied, No, we don't want it." "Of course we do. This is premium alchemy liquid, after all. Not to mention Liuxian City. Even in the surrounding cities, top-tier spiritual elixirs like this have never appeared. With this, the Wang family can make a name for themselves overnight, seizing most of the Qin family's market share, and instantly rising to become Li Shancheng's top alchemy family. As for the Qin family's mid-tier alchemy liquid, it's nothing compared to the premium version." However, the shopkeeper now seemed worried again. He addressed me, "Senior, how much are you asking for?" "Each bottle of premium alchemy liquid is worth a fortune. I heard that in faraway lands they can sell for as much as 50,000 taels per bottle. If this alchemist asks for an exorbitant price, the Wang family might not be able to buy in bulk." 10,000 per bottle, I said flatly. Commander Wang's eyes flashed with suspicion. With underlying meaning, he asked, "Senior, mid-tier alchemy liquid cost 10,000 taels per bottle." He couldn't help but wonder if I had another motive, until I took out 3 more bottles and set them in front of me. I calmly said, "I only have one request. Ruin the Qin family. Can you do it?" Wang Silin immediately understood why I was selling to them so cheaply. So this senior has a grudge against the Qin family. Did the Qin family lose their minds and actually provoke a Tier 2 alchemist? He made the decision on the spot.
He said,
"If you can supply premium alchemy liquid at such a low price long term, destroying the Qin family will be child's play. It would be no trouble at all." I nodded slightly and said indifferently, "All right, provide me with the materials for the alchemy liquid. I'll now start large-scale refining of the premium alchemy liquid for you." Wang Silin promptly ordered his people to arrange the materials and the refining site. By midday, it was the busiest time of the exhibition. Qin Changsheng suddenly laughed aloud. Everyone, I have some tremendous news to announce. Our Qin family has successfully developed mid-tier alchemy liquid, selling for 13,000 taels per bottle. The hall erupted in thunderous excitement. Though the price is higher than the market, mid-tier alchemy liquids are one of those items money can't always buy. Simply being able to purchase it is already good luck. Paying a little extra is completely acceptable. Looking at the surging crowds, Qin Changsheng laughed heartily. Ever since teaming up with Lu Zheng, the Qin family's luck has been non-stop. Ladies and gentlemen, I, the Wang family, also have some good news for you. To Qin Changsheng's surprise, across from him stood Wang Celine, smiling sweetly and holding a tray. A red cloth covered the tray. Qin Changsheng frowned. This girl loves to play tricks. But if she wants to compete with the Qin family, she needs some real substance. Before he could finish speaking, Commander Wang grinned slightly. He got straight to the point. From today, our Wang family will release premium alchemy liquid in limited quantities. Then he flipped off the red cloth on the tray. A bottle of premium alchemy liquid was revealed. The scene erupted with deafening chaos. But Qin Changsheng couldn't figure out where the Wang family had gotten premium alchemy liquid overnight. Where did they suddenly get such premium alchemy liquid? He began to panic, watching his own booth. He saw all his customers rushing over to the other side. He shouted hastily, "Don't get carried away, everyone. Premium alchemy liquid is worth at least 50,000 taels. Are you sure you can afford it?" This made many overly excited buyers halt and look a little embarrassed. After all, premium alchemy liquid is incredibly rare and valuable. There's no way an ordinary person could afford it. Might as well just buy the lower or mid-tier alchemy liquid. But Wang Celine just smiled slyly. To thank all our loyal and new customers for supporting the Wang family for years, we're announcing a 1-month limited offer. Premium alchemy liquid will sell for 12,000 taels per bottle.
He had calculated carefully.
Of the 12,000, 10,000 would go to our senior. 1,000 covers the cost of materials. And the Wang family only makes a slim 1,000 taels profit. The profit may be small, but it would be enough to put the Qin family out of business. That was all that mattered. The crowd that had just dispersed now erupted again, rushing to the Wang family's booth. The chaotic scene continued until dusk. Qin Changsheng looked at the unsold lower-grade alchemy liquids on his booth with bloodshot eyes. His booth was full of returns. Why did this happen? Why? He just couldn't understand. Where did the Wang family suddenly get premium alchemy liquid? And why was it so cheap? It was like they were targeting the Qin family on purpose. Gritting his teeth, he shouted, "Commander Wang, I don't care who you're backed by. If you want to ruin the Qin family, you're not nearly good enough." He stood up and snorted. "I've helped Lu Zheng so much after all. He should have his protector step out and help out the Qin family too." Behind the Wang family's booth, in a temporary tent, I took a sip of tea, moistening my throat. By the end of the day, I had refined a total of 50 bottles of premium alchemy liquid and 10 bottles of the finest grade. I kept the finest grade elixir for myself and sold the 50 bottles of premium alchemy liquid to the Wang family for 500,000 taels. At this moment, Wang Celine approached gracefully, holding silver notes. A light fragrance on her as she said, "Senior, here's your 500,000 taels in silver." My expression remained blank as I accepted and tucked it away. "I'll refine another batch of premium alchemy liquid tomorrow, so have your silver and materials ready. It's a simple exchange." With that, I got up to leave. "Please wait, Senior." A spark of wisdom flashed in Commander Wang's eyes. Premium alchemy liquid is enough to destroy half the Qin family's business, but they still have lower-tier alchemy liquid, so they can barely keep going. After a moment's thought, I understood. Those who can afford premium alchemy liquid are ultimately just a few martial artists. Most martial artists still prefer to buy lower-tier alchemy liquids. The Qin family went all out to support Lu Zheng and tried their best to suppress me. I'll definitely make them pay for this. "Senior, could you also refine some lower-grade alchemy liquid?" Wang Celine tentatively asked. I stared blankly ahead. It's not that I can't make lower-tier alchemy liquids. It's just that the demand for them is enormous. Even working day and night, it might still not meet the market needs. I need to focus mainly on my own cultivation. Spending so much time just to deal with the Shin family is not worth it. Clearly, it's a waste of time. Maybe you could train a few alchemist apprentices? What do you think, Senior? Wang Xian saw that I was silent and asked. I snapped back to attention. Sorry. I was thinking about whether I should train a few alchemist apprentices, dedicated to refining lower-grade alchemy liquids. But that's not something to rush. Choosing the right people is a major headache in itself. Let's talk it over later when I have time. I glanced at the sky, stood up to take my leave. Wang Xilan was thrilled, training alchemist apprentices. Even with a family heirloom, Qin Changsheng is only at apprentice level himself. If the Wang family had alchemist apprentices, they'd never have to worry again. After pondering for a long time, he took out the crystal of breaking delusions. Wait for him to come to the mansion tomorrow. I want to see his true face. The crystal of breaking delusions is the Wang family's heirloom. It can see through disguises. He wants to see what this soul master really looks like. After I left the expo, I didn't rush back to the Jiang residence. Instead, I arrived at the gate of the city lord's mansion not far away. I took out that token, which I found on the man from the blood-floating palace. Seeing this token, the captain of the guards immediately showed great respect. So young and already able to kill someone from the blood-floating palace. Truly a young hero. The blood-floating palace is an evil organization entrenched within the Changsec's territory. They burn, kill, and rob, committing every crime imaginable. They have many branches. The Changshuan sect has raided them many times, but still hasn't wiped them out. As a result, the Changshuan sect ordered all local city lords' mansions to issue bounty missions to exterminate them. However, ordinary warriors generally do not dare to provoke people from the blood-floating palace. Very few are able to complete these missions. You are qualified to enter the Yin Cloud spirit pool to cultivate once. Follow me, led by him. I arrived at the corner of the city lord's mansion. There were 2 secret rooms standing side by side here. Below the secret rooms was the Yin Cloud spirit pool, constantly bubbling with rich spirit energy. When I arrived, there was already a woman in purple in front of the secret rooms. She was very tall, with long, shapely legs. Upon hearing someone approach from behind, she turned to look at me. She only glanced at me lightly and said indifferently, 4th level of key cultivation, perfected. You're late. Just say it. She chose a secret room to rest in. I was stunned for a moment. What does she mean by being late? The captain of the guards sighed and said, so you've already perfected the 4th level of key cultivation. Then you are indeed late. The Yin Cloud Spirit Pool has been open for over 3 years now. Many cultivators have already used it. The spirit energy in the pool isn't what it used to be. Now, if you're above the 4th level of key cultivation and want to break through, unless your spiritual roots are outstanding, or you have an advanced cultivation method, the captain of the guards looked me over and I hardly looked like someone from a big family, or someone who would have access to a high-level cultivation method. He sighed quietly. Well, since you're here, you might as well give it a try. You can only cultivate for 1 hour. Make good use of your time. I nodded slightly and entered the other secret room. A short while later, a stern-looking middle-aged man hurried over. He was none other than the strongest person in Liuxian City, who appeared at the testing tower. The city lord, the Jifeng. Fairy Liu has gone inside. The captain of the guards showed utmost respect. She's already cultivating. The Jifeng let out a slight sigh of relief. She's the daughter of the Changshuan sect master. We absolutely cannot neglect her. You're here waiting for Fairy Liu to finish her seclusion. If she comes out, notify me immediately. Modi Leaf Monsoon discovered another secret room with people inside. He frowned subconsciously. Who's in there? The guard captain replied, it's a nameless young man who killed someone from the blood-floating palace. Upon hearing that, Leaf Monsoon couldn't help but scold. Couldn't you wait until Fairy Liu finishes cultivating before letting him in? The guard captain hesitated and said, should I ask him to come out? He glanced at the 2 adjacent secret rooms. Leaf Monsoon pondered. Forget it, he's just a low-level nameless kid. He won't affect Fairy Liu's cultivation anyway. Inside the secret room, I'd already entered a state of selfless cultivation. My transparent spirit root was like the dazzling roots of a giant tree, absorbing the surrounding spiritual energy. At the same time, the Imperial Extreme Advanced Heart Technique, Clear Breeze Sutra, circulated as well, speeding up the absorption of spiritual energy. Both working together, it seemed the spiritual energy here was being summoned, surging toward me from all directions. The purple-robed woman next door was deep in meditation, but suddenly snapped awake. She sensed the flow of spiritual energy. A trace of confusion flashed across her cold face. What's going on? I'm practicing the highest heart technique of my sect, and my spiritual root is grade 7, cultivating at the same time. The spiritual energy should be flowing toward me. He circulated his heart technique again, trying to seize the spiritual energy back. Yet not only did the spiritual energy not stay in his room, it instead drained away even faster. A trace of amazement appeared on his face. Could it be that the other's spirit root is far superior to mine? He simply gave up on cultivating, since the spiritual energy here, at his level, wasn't of much use for further progress. He stepped outside the secret room, feeling the situation inside my room through the door crack. In his senses, astonishing streams of spiritual energy were being devoured, as if there was a black hole inside, sucking up all the energy, absorbing spiritual energy so quickly, he couldn't help but be moved. Then, as a thought flashed, he was slightly surprised and said, "Could it be? He is the one with the grade 9 spirit root detected by Lu Xiancheng?" He stared intently at the stone door of the secret room, his eyes hinting at challenge. This time he had snuck out behind his father's back, just to see for himself what was so special about the world-shocking grade 9 spirit root. He wanted to know what made it so outstanding. At this moment, a muffled noise sounded inside the secret room. A fluctuation of level 5 key refinement slowly emerged. The guard captain's pupils contracted. He exclaimed, he broke through. The spiritual energy here is very thin, barely enough for low-level martial artists to break through. I actually succeeded. Even the icy face of the purple-robed woman showed a hint of amazement. She unconsciously clenched her fists. No wonder it's a grade 9 spirit root. It's truly different from the average person. If it were an ordinary cultivator, at perfection of level 4 key refinement, they could never break through in such thin spiritual energy, successfully advancing. But with my spirit root and technique, I could just barely manage it. A grade 9 spirit root doesn't seem much stronger than mine. However, after the time it takes to drink a cup of tea, another slight popping sound came from inside the secret room. A powerful wave of level 6 key refinement swept out, stirring up the dust on the ground. Surprise finally appeared on the purple-clad woman's pretty face. In just a cup of tea's time,
He broke through from level 5 to level 6 key refinement.
even pushing herself to the limit, she couldn't do that. A trace of bitterness appeared at the corner of her mouth. Is this the gap between a grade 9 and a grade 7 spirit root? The purple-robed woman still had her last bit of stubbornness, but she thought that's as far as she get. The jump from level 6 to 7 is a chasm. It took me a full 10 days to break through back then. As time ticked away, no further sounds came from the secret room. It seemed to confirm her words, but suddenly an even stronger surge of energy swept out of the secret room. The guard captain nearly lost his balance. Stunned, he shouted, broke through to level 7 key refinement. In just 1 hour, broke from the peak of level 4 to level 7 key refinement. The purple-clad woman's icy face could no longer remain calm. Her clear, cold eyes were full of shock. He muttered in disbelief.
Impossible.
It's just a 2-grade difference between 9 and 7. How could the gap be so vast? The purple-clad woman, crushed by failure, almost felt her Dao heart collapse. She had never imagined that her once proud grade 7 spirit root compared to a grade 9 would be worlds apart. I left the secret room drenched in sweat and saw the purple-clad woman was outside too. I immediately realized my cultivation had disturbed her, so I quickly cupped my hands and said, "Miss, I'm so sorry. I disturbed you." The purple-robed woman looked at me complexly. She gently bit her silver teeth and said, "My name is Liu Qingshen. Remember my name when you catch up to my level. I want to have a fair duel with you." With that, she took off the purple token hanging at her waist, tossed it to me and said, "Here. If you're ever in danger, take this out. Don't you dare die." With those words, she turned and left. leaving me there dumbfounded. What just happened? She insists on dueling with me out of nowhere, and even threw me a token. I scratched my head in confusion and left. Liu Qingshan left Liuxiang City by riding a white crane into the sky. Not long after flying out, a dark cloud suddenly covered the sky above her. She looked up and saw a gigantic blue eagle. Standing on its back was a man in a flowing white robe, a sharp and imposing middle-aged man, whose powerful aura scattered all the incoming strong winds. Seeing this person, Liu Qingshan was startled. She hurriedly knelt and bowed. I'm a disciple of Changshuan sect. Liu Qingshan greets Deputy Pavilion Master Chen of Heavenly Secret Pavilion. Because the man before her was none other than one of the 4 Deputy Pavilion Masters of Heavenly Secret Pavilion. Chen Zhengdao without a doubt. He was exactly the one sent to take Lu Zheng away by Heavenly Secret Pavilion. Your father has been looking for you everywhere, so this is where you ran off to. Chen Zhengdao laughed briefly. He and the Changshuan sect leader had once been fellow disciples, so they had a very close relationship. On the road he received word that his friend's daughter had run off, and was told to keep an eye out for her along the way. Glancing down at Liuxian City below, he instantly understood Liu Qingshan's reason for coming. He couldn't help but ask curiously, so you met that grade 9 spirit root. How was it? That question made Liu Qingshan's eyes turn red. She replied aggrieved, he was too much. Chen Zhengdao was stunned. In his memory, Liu Qingshan was always strong-willed and yielded to no one. An extremely competitive girl. What could make her cry like this? How big a blow did she take? How exactly did he bully you? Tell me, I'm listening. Chen Zhengdao smiled, ready to hear a story. Liu Qingshan recounted what happened to her. After listening, even Chen Zhengdao couldn't laugh anymore. That's impossible. You're sure you didn't misperceive anything? In just 1 hour, and with a regular spirit energy pool, from level 4 in the key refinement stage, to reaching level 7 at its peak? I'm an 8th grade spirit root, only 1 step below a grade 9. But my cultivation speed is only half of his. Seeing Chen Zhengdao's shocked expression, Liu Qingshan felt at ease. Even someone with an 8th grade spirit root is feeling frustrated. He laughed happily. Vice Pavilion Master Chen, why don't you go check it yourself? Anyway, I've already given him the Qingyuan token. Very good. I'll take my leave now. He cupped his hands as he finished speaking, humming a cheerful tune, then rode away on a white crane, leaving Chen Zhengdao standing there, utterly stunned. Is the difference between the 9th and 8th grade really that big? I don't believe it. When I returned to the Jiang residence, the servants were hurriedly arranging all kinds of flower baskets, cleaning the tables and chairs. Even Jiang Zhengyan, the head of the family, personally joined in. Jiang Ruxu was also busily helping out on the side. What's going on? I asked in surprise. When they saw me come back, Jiang Zhengyan showed a hint of disdain. What are you standing there for? Hurry up and help together. Jiang Ruxu handed me a cloth respectfully and said, just now the city lord sent someone in a rush to inform us that the honored guest from the Tianji Pavilion is coming. Right then, Lu Zheng walked out looking all arrogant. With his hands behind his back, he shouted powerfully, Fang Qian, what are you spacing out for? Hurry up and get to work for me. If you ruin my big moment, even 10 heads can't make up for it. I casually threw the cloth I was handed on the ground and wrote, what does your business have to do with me? The people from Tianji Pavilion are here for Lu Zheng, not for me. Lu Zheng gave a fake smile but wasn't really smiling. What an idiot. Today is the day I rise to the top. Soar to the 9th heaven. So many people outside want to cling to me at this final moment. Cling to my coattails. I don't even have time to bother with them. Yet you have the chance to wipe my chairs and mop the floor for me. But you don't appreciate it. Chen Yingfeng beside him was also looking pleased. Why are we paying attention to this mute? Right then, Qin Changsheng arrived after hearing the news. He cupped his hands and greeted, young Master Lu. Congratulations, my friend. Just a small gift. Hope you don't mind. I hope young Master Lu can support our Qin family in the future. Behind Qin Changsheng were a few strong men, carrying several boxes of low-grade crafting liquid, making all the Jiang family members gasp in shock. So many artifact refiners. At least 300,000 taels of silver. Jiang Zhengyan and Chen Yingfeng watched in shock. For a moment, neither of them dared to accept it. Gifts must be reciprocated. The Jiang family can't afford to return such a lavish present. But Lu Zhang just laughed heartily. He accepted everything without hesitation. Master Chen arrived just in time. Come on, everyone working here gets a bottle. Of course, as for that mute, don't give him one. So from clan members to the servants, everyone happily received a bottle of inferior artifact refining liquid. Only I was left empty-handed, Lu Zhang said smugly. Feng Qian, you're starting to regret it, right? You just missed out on a bottle of inferior refining liquid. That's a big loss, you know? I touched the 10 bottles of supreme refining liquid hidden in my clothes. Let them turn down such talent. I calmly wrote, if I were you, before joining the Tianji Pavilion, I would never accept this gift. Qin Changsheng scoffed. Feng Qian, I'm willing to give it. Young Master Lu is happy to take it. Why do you have to meddle? I looked at Qin Changsheng and smiled playfully. I'm just worried Master Qin will end up with nothing and deeply regret it. Qin Changsheng laughed out loud. Me regret? I just latch onto a genius with a grade 9 spiritual root. There's no way I'd have any regrets. Just then, a strong gust of wind swept in. A large blue ROC slowly descended above the Jiang residence. A figure radiating a stubborn aura leapt down. Lu Zhang's breath stalled. He looked at Feng Qian and said, Feng Qian, my moment of glory has come. You just watch how I leap over the dragon gate and become a true dragon among the heavens. As Chen Zhengdao landed, Jiang Zhengyan led Lu Zhang and the entire Jiang family out together. They all knelt on one knee to welcome him. Chen Zhengdao wore a smile and nodded slightly. I am Chen Zhengdao, the Vice Pavilion Master of Tianji Pavilion. Upon hearing this, everyone present was absolutely shocked. They thought it would just be some steward or the like. Who would have thought it was actually a Vice Pavilion Master? Everyone was both nervous and amazed. The importance Tianji Pavilion places on grade 9 spiritual roots was beyond their imagination. Who here has a grade 9 spiritual root? Chen Zhengdao asked eagerly. Advancing 3 levels in an hour. It's just unbelievable. Everyone immediately looked at Lu Zhang. Lu Zhang was extremely proud. He took a step forward and bowed, saying, Lu Zhang greets Vice Pavilion Master Chen. Now that you have tested as grade 9 again after the new year, Tianji Pavilion is in shock once more. It must be fate. Everyone realized that Chen Zhengdao was the one who discovered the black grade 8 spiritual root years ago, the genius of Bilu City. His move to befriend and win over Lu Zhang was obvious to everyone present. It meant that if Lu Zhang joined Tianji Pavilion, Chen Zhengdao would surely take care of him. Lu Zhang's potential truly seemed limitless. Qin Changsheng clenched his fist excitedly and muttered to himself, I knew it, as Qin Changsheng. I've never made a wrong choice in my life. Holding on to Lu Zhang was the best decision I've ever made. Chen Zhengdao and Lu Zhang chatted for a long time, bonding with each other. Before getting down to business, he glanced at all the Jiang clan members kneeling on the ground and said, You all may rise. Jiang Zhengyan stood up first and respectfully said, Vice Pavilion Master Chen, please, this way, then. Everyone moved to the main hall. Chen Zhengdao sat alone in the center, while the rest stood quietly on either side, barely daring to breathe. Xiaolu, your grade 9 spiritual roots power. I've already heard about it on the way here, Chen Zhengdao said with a soft chuckle. Even the cold girl from the Changshuan sect was made to cry by you. Lu Zhang looked a bit confused. That girl from Changshuan sect. Who is that? Chen Zhengdao continued. Can you give us a live demonstration of what it looks like when you activate your spiritual root? 3 breakthroughs in an hour. The rate you absorb spiritual energy. It's probably like a whale swallowing ocean water. Lu Zhang nodded and walked to the center of the hall. It's expected that someone from Tianji Pavilion would ask him to prove himself, just as expected. However, simply activating his spiritual root wouldn't show the true power of his grade 9 root, so he already had a better idea. Vice Pavilion Master Chen, how about switching to a sparring match instead? Chen Zhengdao nodded. Who do you want to spar with? Lu Zhang smirked to himself, raised his hand and pointed at me. Feng Chen, dare to have another match with me.